about Saquon Barkley coming off of a short week, and the question was, what do you do with Saquon Barkley in fantasy? And in my opinion, is I'm benching him. Like until I see something, I can't roll him out there because he
Yeah.
does not look a hunt. He doesn't look like he's playing like Saquon Barkley, and the Giants aren't a good team. Whether I'm not saying he's not healthy, I'm not gonna speculate on that, but he's definitely looking like a guy playing off of an ACL injury, right? They don't want to give him a full workload, and it's a short week. Like if this, I have more confidence in Saquon Barkley in week 3 than I will
Yeah.
ever have in week 2. It's a short week. He already didn't play a lot, so why would and maybe this is just the Giants thing to do. Giants gonna giant. Why would they not work him on Sunday and then give him a massive workload on Thursday
On
versus the
Thursday.
football team, versus that defense, versus Chase Young, versus Jamin Davis? Like, why would they do that? This is the week. I know the whole additive start your studs. I'm not touching anything Saquon Barkley related this week. I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I was gonna say the same thing. I was looking for some Saquon lines early this morning, and I couldn't even find anything. A lot of books just pulled them because they don't want to lose a bunch of money on the unders because of the workload. And they're already playing, like you said, the Washington football team, one of the best defensive lines, linebacking cores in all of the NFL. So how is he going to do anything, regardless of whether, even if he was healthy? How is he going to see 60 rushing yards? How is he going to see even 30 receiving yards? Those guys are going to be flying around all the way edge to edge, sideline to sideline. It's going to be very difficult for him if he is out there. And I think you're spot on to take the under, and I'd be taking the under too.
What about Antonio Gibson, 68 and a half? I think he had 90 last week.
I'm
With a young
iffy on that
quarterback,
one.
I feel like they're gonna have to take a little. Here's what I think the game plan is: run Antonio Gibson, like they just want to get a win, right? They're just trying to
Yeah.
get a win. It's a divisional game. Run Antonio Gibson, protect your quarterback, and if you do throw the ball, throw it to Logan Thomas or Terry McLaurin. Like those are your targets. You remember we talk about make your bets tell a story. That's my story. Is
Yeah.
really simple. Run Antonio Gibson. Let your defense do the work. If you do throw to Terry McLaurin. I did these on Prize Picks. So I'm at Saquon Barkley. When I saw 52 and a half, I'm like under. Unless he rips off a long run or the Giants
Yeah.
giant, I just don't see how he hits that total. And Daniel Jones, I mean, he had 267 last week. He didn't play well,
Yeah.
but I just think they're not going to have a choice but to throw the ball, whether that's dump offs to Booker, getting Sterling Shepard involved. And we can kind of talk about Gibson's prop right now. So,
Yeah.
receiving yards, 17 and a half. Do you like this for Gibson?
So this is a number I liked more. So you talked about the rushing yards. The reason why I don't love the rushing yards as much is because the Giants actually do have a good defensive line, and their linebacking core is decent. They're much more vulnerable in the secondary. And so while Taylor Heineke is a rookie, or sorry, not a rookie, a young quarterback, not very experienced, I don't think that changes the game plan personally. I still think that they're going to do a lot more through the air. And like we talked about with Dallas, right? I think they can do more on the edges in the short passing game through screens than they can do just simply trying to run the ball, because they're going to have more of a stacked box now that Taylor Heineke's out there. While he can run, they're going to see some heavier fronts because they know they're going to lean on Gibson. So I don't think the coaching staff is going to be unaware of that, and they're going to intentionally stretch the field and get the ball on the edges because they do have playmakers. They have people who can make plays, and Taylor Heineke is a capable quarterback. So this number at 17 and a half, I thought was very interesting, because if they decide to not run as much and they decide to pass the ball a little bit more, it's a very beatable number for Gibson. Gibson last week saw 5 targets, he got 3 receptions, and he got 18 yards. Now that's only 6 yards of reception. I've told you before, doing projections, kind of looking at some numbers, 7.5 is kind of the baseline projection for any running back. A bad running back will average 7.5 to 7 yards of reception. So if Gibson sees 4 to 5 targets this week, like on tomorrow, he's probably going to go over that number. For his career, he's 18 and a half receiving yards per game. That's just for his entire career. And that includes the games where he barely played. That includes the games where he blew up. And we know that at Memphis, he averaged like 70 yards per game receiving some games. So he's definitely capable of doing that. It just comes down to, does he get the volume? And I think last week was indicative of him potentially getting that volume again against Denver, which is a great defensive line, but not as good for the Giants, right? So I think it's a very beatable number for him, more than the rushing yards.
And I saw somebody ask about J.D. McKissick. His receiving yard line is 13 and a half. So over under 13 and a half, and I think it's a minus 115 price. I'm looking at Taylor Heineke now. His rushing yard prop line, minus 120, 18 and a half rushing yards. From DraftKings, and if you go to FanDuel, it's 20 and a half, minus 114. So,
Yeah.
and I saw that too, and I was considering it when I saw it on the book that I use. I think it was 17.5 for Taylor Heineke. So, uh, I'm just. I hope we see one of those terrible shootouts. I hope we get like one of those games where it just should be trash, but it ends up being really good. But Heineke, yeah, 18.5 minus 120. If you take the over, I think he should hit that. A scrambler. He's gonna run at some point. He's gonna run at some point.
So even last week, just to give you a bit of a context, against the Chargers, he went 11 for 15 for 122 yards and a touchdown. QB rating of 120. So again, accurate passer, right? He can deliver the ball. And then he still ran the ball 3 times for 17 yards. And we know he didn't play the whole game. I believe he played, about 2.5 quarters. I forget exactly when Fitz got injured. But that's still pretty encouraging. You think you give him, yes, it's a short week, but he's the backup. He knows the offense. I'm not as concerned about him installing a game plan and getting ready for that. But having that entire game, pushing those numbers a little bit, like even his passing yard number was 240 yards. So I think the bookmakers are expecting him to actually air it out a little bit and get those passing yards. Whether or not they do, we'll see. But I think that they are more beatable, especially the Giants, being more beatable through the air than on the ground.
Well, if you think they're gonna throw the ball, Logan Thomas is interesting. Over under 47.5 receiving yards, minus 105 price, and then receptions 4.5 over under 4.5. You can get plus odds, plus 105 for Logan Thomas. Now I think last week he had 3 receptions in that game. He did score a touchdown.
3 receptions, 30 yards on 3 targets, which was only my concern with going after Logan Thomas, is that Taylor Heineke did come in the game and it didn't seem like it did him any favors. When, like we're talking about, we project him to not be throwing the ball downfield as much as Fitz. So Logan Thomas seems like a natural fit for him to target more in that offense. And it just didn't really happen. And to talk about Teddy Bridgewater last week against that same defense, 28 for 36, 2 touchdowns, 264 yards. So, and again, he even rushed for 19 yards. So to think that Taylor Heineke can hit that number, he definitely can. It's happened before, happened last week for both of his numbers. But again, how do they toe the line between rushing and passing? Are they going to do a 50-50 split? Is Thomas going to be involved? It's not a number I necessarily want to go near at 4.5 because I don't know his involvement with Taylor Heineke and whether or not Taylor Heineke would rather throw to Gibson, throw to Terry, throw to somebody else. It's just a little too high for me, and it's playing into his averages from last season, not what we're seeing this season.
Well, Terry McLaurin, I love the touchdown odds to score a touchdown. You can get plus 165 on FanDuel for Terry McLaurin to score a touchdown. I like that. Longest reception, 23.5 yards. Receiving yards, 67.5, all the way up to 69.5. And then receptions made, I kind of talked about that earlier. I took the over 5.5 receptions made. They've got to get their best player the ball. Terry McLaurin's the best player on offense. They've got to get him the ball. Short week. I think McLaurin can exploit that Giants secondary. We know that it's not very good. They do have a solid front. They've got a solid front line, but their secondary is not. I know they've got James Bradbury, who probably will shadow Terry McLaurin, and Bradbury is a solid corner, but I'm going to take better offensive play over defensive play, especially at the wide receiver position. The game is just skewed towards them. Von Astor, y'all touching on the Mostert news. I mean, not really. I mean, he's out for the season. Go get Elijah Mitchell. I think Mostert, that's a wrap for him. In Dynasty, if I had him, good luck. I think he's DOA at this point. Like, that's it. He just can't stay healthy. He just cannot stay healthy. And I know a lot of people say there's no such thing as injury prone. Whether it's injury prone or whatever you want to call it, the dude just can't stay healthy, man. Let's look at Sterling Shepard. And this is somebody that I was kind of bullish on coming into the season. I know we kind of talked about it in our private chats, Jay, but I really like Sterling Shepard. He's, I know they paid Kenny Golladay, a whole bunch of money, $60 million, 70, 80, 90 million, whatever they gave Kenny Golladay. But Sterling Shepard seems to be their best wide receiver. He's reliable in the short area games. He can make plays happen after the catch. He's got the number 3 on, rocking the Oklahoma college number with those Jordan gloves on. I like Terry McLaurin. What do you think about his over-under 55.5 yards? I like it, man.
Yeah, so touching on Sterling Shepard, because you did say Terry McLaurin there, so no
Sterling
reason to
Shepard,
confuse the viewers.
Sterling Shepard, my
it's
bad.
all good. So one of the reasons why I really like this number, and don't get on me too badly, people, because I understand that Sterling Shepard is not Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen did go for 9 in the 100 last week against this same defense. He operates mostly out of the slot. No, Taylor Heineke is not Justin Herbert. No, Sterling Shepard. No, Daniel Jones is not Justin Herbert.
You're talking about me, Taylor Heineke.
No, Sterling Shepard is not Keenan Allen. But last week, he had a really good game, again, with Daniel Jones. He went 7 for 113 with a touchdown. So to think that he can't do the same thing against the same offense that gets beat in the same fashion, I think is foolish. And only at 55.5, I'm more than happy to take that number. I think he could easily hit 70. I think it's the one spot that people talk about that Washington is actually beatable is in the slot. And I think that he is going to get it done. 56 yards for Sterling Shepard, locked and loaded, guaranteed. I love this number for Shepard. I think he could go the over for receptions, which is only at 4.5, but you have to pay a lot to get that number. If you could juice it up a little bit to 5.5, I think that may be worth it. It's like minus 160 because people keep betting it like crazy for him to go over. But the 55.5 is a number that is bettable. It's only about minus 120 depending on the book that you look at. And I think he's going to be able to get that number done.
At William Hill, you can get plus 100 at over 55.5.
Yeah, there you go. William Hill. I don't even know where William Hill is eligible, but you can get it there.
Yeah. I mean,
double your money, 55.5.
55.5. You could just double up, man. I love that. And even the receptions made, MGM, over 4.5 receptions for Sterling Shepard. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, like when I was pulling the numbers this morning, I love it, but you got to pay minus 154 to get it. I think was the best number I found. So that part kind of sucks. But again, you're still looking at 50% profit for hitting that bet if you make it. So if you put down $50, you're going to get a free $25, and I think
free $25.
It's a pretty good bet to make. Personally, I think you're going to get a lot of good value out of that.
Now, where you can make some money is if you have the conviction to say Sterling Shepard's going to score a touchdown, because if you think Sterling Shepard scores a touchdown, no Evan Ingram in this game. Kenny Golladay, we don't know, and Brandon said $72 million for Kenny Golladay, but we don't talk about that. He's a Giants fan. Plus 290, FanDuel plus 290 for Sterling Shepard to score a touchdown. I mean, you could throw $5 on that and walk away with gas money at the end of the night. I mean, that's pretty nice, man. I mean, I drive a truck.
Gas money where? Can you please tell me where you can get gas for $15? That would get me like 3 liters of gas.
That's all I do. I'm that guy who just puts in just enough to make it home. I just need to make it home. Nah, man. I drive a truck. It ain't gonna get you gas, but it'll get you lunch money. Lunch.
There you go. Free lunch on Sterling Shepard.
Free lunch on Sterling Shepard scoring a touch. You know those people who just like, let me get 10 on pump 2, and you're like, what? Bro, you're on E. Like, I just need $10. That's what we used to do in college. We don't do that now. We just fill up. But what else do we want to touch on from this game? Let's look at.
So we did skip Kenny Golladay though. If you want to look something up.
Kenny Golladay.
I know you don't want to talk about him, but he's the number one, the alpha for the Giants for Daniel Jones. And to be honest, he had a better game than I expected. I thought he would put up like 3 receptions, like 30, 40 yards. And he went out there, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 64 yards. Come on. And his number is only at 49.5.
Yeah, that's what you want out of your...
I'm not saying I love it, but he did it last week. Can he do it again against this defense? I don't know.
Vaughn said, "Y'all didn't skip. He's not worth." Let me tell you something. If I pay $72 million, I want more than 4 for 64. But the odds makers think Sterling Shepard is the alpha because his over/under receiving yard line is higher than Kenny Golladay. Yeah. So Kenny G 49.5. I like it. I do like it.
It's a beatable number. It's one play for him.
Yeah, it's one play, and it might be the only play, but he can get that. He can catch a 50-yard Daniel Jones inaccurate bomb. He can do that from minus 110 MGM. Receptions made for Kenny Golladay over. Look at the under 3.5.
I know.
That's crazy.
People hate Kenny Golladay. Well, I mean, it's a fair number for him. You know, he only catches about 56% of his passes on his career. So, like, you know, what are we really expecting? Daniel Jones is maybe a 60% passer. Kenny Golladay only catches like 56% of his passes anyways. So if he gets 8 targets, he may only catch 5, right? And if he only catches 4, you're barely hitting that number. And he only got 6 targets last week. So if he catches half those, he's at a 3.
All right, let's try to find some.
It's dicey.
Let's try to find some exploitable matchups. Just this game is so gross. Like, I'm not even excited to watch it. I mean, it's football, so I'm trying to be appreciative.
Okay, I have a fun one for you though. Can we bet? Are we telling the people to bet Daniel Jones will throw a pick? Because he didn't throw a pick last week, and you can get it's like minus 140 for him not to throw a pick, and it's like plus 210 for him to throw a pick.
I mean, if you want to make that bet, we can do that. I would. If
It's it's a
Daniel,
it's
there's
a
no way Daniel
interesting
Jones could
bet.
go 2 weeks in a row without throwing a pick. That's like me going to show without banging the table. It takes a lot of
It's
self-control not to do that.
it's plus 120 for him not to throw a pick, minus 150 for him to
Are we
throw a
gonna
pick.
waste a bet this week on this Daniel Jones interception?
I'm not
And
saying it will be a guaranteed wasted bet, but I think it's one to monitor because maybe he won't throw a pick. You never know.
all right,
I love playing the interception bets. They're a lot of fun.
Darius Slayton. Let's just go through Slayton, right?
Oh man, Slayton.
35
Oh,
and
no.
a half over under receiving yards, 2.5 receptions. Would you touch any Darius Slayton line? Now, plus 450 to score a touchdown. Plus 450.
Ugh.
If I did anything, it would be that. I'm just betting on a fluke ass touchdown from Darius Slayton.
So the good thing for Slayton is he did see 7 targets last week. So we
did
saw
see
more than
7
Kenny
targets.
Galladay.
Yes, he did.
So that is encouraging, but he only caught 42.5%. Now, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if it was his fault. It was probably Daniel Jones' fault. But he did have 65 yards. So that, not bad.
listen,
21 yards per reception.
We're trying to find the exploitable matchups to make money.
What's his long reception number? Because I think that's a number you could hit.
18 and a half.
For his longest reception?
Yeah, over under 18 and a half yards.
That's a number that's very beatable for him. He for his career, I believe, is almost at that number. I believe he's like at 14 and a half, 15 and a half. But last week he averaged 21.67 yards per reception.
I might do a little three-leg parlay. Maybe over on the reception length for
Yeah, he
Darius
averages
Slayton.
for his career 15.4 yards per reception. So if his number for longest reception is only 18 and a half, to get one, he could easily have a 20-yard reception in this game. Easily.
I'm thinking Slayton, Sterling Shepard, and
Okay, hold on. Whoa. Are you going touchdown bets again? I thought you were giving up on the touchdown bets.
No, I'm leaving that alone. I took a massive L on that touchdown parlay in the Baltimore. All the points they scored, not only got like 2 of the touchdown getters right. We'll see. I don't want to waste.
Okay,
we'll
take the over on the. Okay, we'll make this bet tomorrow, but I think it'll be over on Sterling's yards. I would do a longest reception on
Darius Slayton.
What is it? Darius Slayton, and I would take under on Barkley's yards, and that's your parlay. Probably somewhere around plus 230-ish. I think that could be a line that would be pretty good. But it's an ugly game. But we're trying to find some value, and don't discount the Daniel Jones TD numbers, because that's always a fun one to play, and we know he's good for rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he is.
So if you want to go after that,
what's it?
He's a guy
half?
who can. Let me see what it is for his touchdowns.
0.5, probably
you
half
have
for a
his
touchdown.
longest rush, 11 yards. Plus 430. Go after that shit, man. Plus 430 for Daniel Jones to score a touchdown. That's worth it. That's worth it, because he will run for a touchdown every now and then. And against this defense, he may have to pull one because Saquon Barkley is not getting it done. So you think about if you're a FanDuel bettor and you want to put $10 on Daniel Jones scoring a touchdown, I think that's probably worth it.
Man, I even
$10
like
to
his
win 43.
Now that's gas money. 43 is gas money, right? That's gas money. I like his longest rush too, 11 and a half yards.
Well, yeah. I think it's a beatable number for him.
Man,
Daniel Jones score a touchdown is a great number. He's good for touchdowns for sure.
I like it, man. And I like it. I actually like. We're gonna put something together.
And he ran for a touchdown last week too.
He ran for one. Now, does he do that 2 weeks in a row though?
Now your mic's clicking again.
Is it? I'm sorry. I didn't.
Oh, there you go. You're good now.
I guess it's the Apple Watch, man. And maybe it's the Apple Watch. You know, they got the new Apple Watches coming out, so they start making shit mess up as the new stuff gets announced. We'll figure something out. This just feels like we're burning money, like right now. Even just thinking about this.
It's tough. Like I said, I like the Shepard number a lot, 55.5. So I made the graphic for it. I like the Gibson number, and if you want to feel a little bit frisky with Daniel Jones, I think it's worth it. You know, I've placed worse bets. I remember I got Carson Wentz at plus 600 last year. When you get them at 5-1, 6-1 for some of these quarterbacks, look at how often they score touchdowns, and it's probably worth it, because you think about it, is their average higher than the odds, right? So if it's 5-1, that means every 5 games they have to hit one for you to cash out. If they score a rushing touchdown every 5 games, which I believe Daniel Jones does, it's probably worth it. So 4.3 to 1 is probably worth. That's about 4 a season for him. He already rushed for 1. Can he do it again? Not bad.